I've decided to read another chapter out of Winged Pharaoh. It was published by Joan Grants in 1937, and it was a book about her own farm memory in ancient Egypt. Egypt before the flood and before Babylon. We are now in the third part of the book, and this is chapter 6. First trial of memory. The next time I slept in the sanctuary, I had much to tell Nesara when I returned to my body. First I went to the house of a poor woman who had a sick child. She knew not from what it suffered, and she thought it was dying. When, from exhaustion, she slept on the floor beside the bed, I told her that her child had eaten of a poisonous plant while leading the goats to pasture, and that she must give it a cupful of sweet oil to drink, and put cloth wrung from hot water on its stomach to ease the pain. That in 3 hours she must give it bread crumbled in warm milk, and soon the poison would be gone and her child will be well again. Nesara asked me, was the child a boy or a girl? What country did they live in? I think it was a boy. I'm not sure. I do not know the country. There were hills covered in short grass. It was a boy, and the land was Minoas, 5 days rowing from the island of their king. Next I went to a man who starved his oxen and stalled them belly deep in filth, and clustering flies were festering on their sores. I made them see a white bull with golden horns, who said to him, I am the god of oxen. For your cruelty to my people, until every sore upon them is healed, you shall spend your sleep in lying down in filth, and on your shoulders you shall wear a yoke. I cannot remember where or who he was. His name was Shezak, and he was a Sumer. For 5 nights you have been to him, and told him to be compassionate, but he would not listen, and so he needed stronger teaching than words, for he could not understand his oxen's pain until he shared it with them. Then I went somewhere else, I know not where, and tried to go along a path, a narrow path, but my way was barred by a frightful creature like a monstrous crocodile, and as I rushed at it, I turned and fled. And I woke in terror. That was a creation of an evil one, to send you back to your body and stop your work. I know the fear that such things can instill, but next time you see one, you must try to walk on, and will that it should crumble at your feet. If it is too strong for you, call to me for aid. Use your courage as a sword and as a shield, and they who challenge it shall run from you. For all things of darkness fear the light. Then I slept again, and I went to the place of children, and I showed 2 little crippled boys that they need not limp, but could run races, one with the other, and there was more which I cannot remember. I think I told them stories, and I built a little girl a house of sand. You have often been to this place before, as you remember, and played with children who smiled in their sleep because of the happiness of which they dreamt. And lastly, I remember going to a man who had just died to tell him he was free from earth. But he laughed at me and said I was mad. He picked up a stone and threw it at a tree and said, do you think still I'm a ghost? Ghosts are but part of man's imaginings, or at best misty shapes that sob upon the wind. I'm alive, you fool, to call me dead. Even my wound has healed and shows no scar. But though I talked to him gently, he only laughed, and I said, you say that you are still on earth? Watch me fly here, I am lighter than a bird. And of my will, I rose above him. But still he laughed, and he said this was a trick, or else some strange fantastic dream, and that he must be sleeping after too much wine. He had been murdered in a winehouse brawl on the island, where the sea ships of Minoas are built, and his name was Praxaris. Nesara said, that is well remembered. You have brought it back clearly and in detail, with nothing added or misunderstood. When next you sleep, go to him again until he wakens to reality and knows where he is. Why should he not believe that he had died. People of this country know not what death is. They think that when their nostrils no longer draw breath, they shall have reached the end of consciousness. So finding themselves still living, they think it must be upon earth that they live, and in so thinking they are bound by the limitation of earth, from which they should be free. But he will listen, though it may take time. That was the end of chapter 6. Chapter 7 is entitled Great Artificers. Fascinating. I hope you have a lovely Friday. New moon today.